Okay.
So then we had the summit. So we had a build up. Then we had the summit.
With the master classes in
With
between.
there were master classes in between.
Shucks.
Oh, very impactful. Then we had the summit, right? Let's talk a bit about the sponsors.
The making of it.
No.
Sponsors.
Let's talk about the sponsors.
Okay.
I want to talk about one in particular, for example. I mean,
MLM logistics.
No. I don't have that much of a big ego. Stop it now. APSA.
Yes.
I really enjoyed APSA's involvement and support.
participation,
Yeah. And I want to highlight just a guy, one guy, as much as there's a team, but there's one guy who's really just Bernard.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Bernard, such a smart guy. In actual fact, Bernard went to Stellenbosch. He actually did his master's there in transport
He's an
economics. Transport economics.
Yeah.
And he's a very, very smart guy. I can tell you, every time I engage with him, there's always so much learning. And he wants to know. I mean, he wants to know about the business. He wants to come to the business. He wants to see. He said, Mark, I want to see what you do. And you can see he's eager to learn. And there's so much I learn from him, and yet he wants to learn from me. But definitely that's one guy. I mean, so let's talk a bit.
About
and let's thank them. I mean, they've done so much for us.
Hundreds.
I mean,
I think we started the relationship with APSA from last year.
We did, yeah.
For me, it's always such a vulnerable experience working with sponsors because people are spending money for a particular ROI that you are promising, and you have to make sure that they get their ROI. Whether is it an increased, most of the time it's either market share or the right awareness to the right organization, because you don't want to be that conference that has the right sponsors, but over time people fall off because you just did not curate it correctly and you did not convene the right people for your sponsors. Very important to make sure that you've got solid ROI for your sponsors. So we started with them first year, and then it worked out because they got clients. They got also a couple of businesses to support.
Yes,
and then we moved into year 2, which, as you read the chairman's report, you know what it is that we had managed to accomplish. They sponsored some SMEs that came to the summit to go and exhibit at Smart Procurement World. They have given other SMEs that they met at the Road Freight SME Summit business development support, also in form of ESD funding.
Absolutely.
So those are the stories
and
that
some
I
certain
love.
things like accounting packages and accounting support, payroll support systems, and that's wonderful stuff.
And you also a sponsor, so you've always
and I love the impact and what it's doing and engaging. And as I said, it's for me, it's the learning. It's the learning that it's talking to other entrepreneurs is really what excites me.
I think also like we started something that was never there. Within the industry, and it has become a quite disruptive platform.
It has.
Because we speak into a market that a lot of people know about but never tapped into. And others, they knew about it, but they were just too lazy. To be fair, to create some form of business support initiatives for trucking companies.
But let's also be fair to say and be bold enough to say that there were also some people that actually didn't want us to exist.
No, definitely.
I'm just saying.
Definitely. Oh,
I'm just saying. We got those blocks.
Oh,
we know them.
Definitely. They're being gatekeepers.
We know them. The gatekeepers.
No, yes.
No, I mean, let's be open about it.
We had to navigate a lot of gatekeepers. And I guess those are the stories that, I think 5 years from now we'll talk about it. Because I think we're still going to be faced with a number of gatekeepers. Who just come to the summit to come and... You can
see that this one is not even taking anything. It's just
and also
there.
I think the just people asking themselves, who are you? Like, who is Florence? Like, who does she think she is to do this? Who is Mark?
No,
who do they
I can
think
tell
they
you,
are?
there's a guy, I'm not going to mention the company, right? Very big company. So after the chairman's report, he comes to me and says, I really liked your speech. I'm like, really? He's like, for the first time I felt someone was talking about something they really know in transport. And I'm thinking,
whoa. Whoa.
Hello.
Whoa.
What do you think has been happening all along?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've been existing for over 10 years. Hello. So it comes to that part where a lot of people actually just felt we were taking a chance.
Yeah.
And probably didn't think we would exist past 1 year or past one event.
What do you think you can do?
Yeah. What can you change?
Yeah. What do you, you know?
Yeah.
Type of thing. And then we've just had to find a way for us to coexist within the ecosystem. And I think this is a conversation that we'll have 5 years from now.
So do you find that it met your expectations? So start there. What do you think of the actual summit?
The summit. Let me finish with the sponsors. So we had JC Auditors.
We did.
I love Oliver Naidu, one of the biggest backers.
Yeah.
We had FNB this time around.
Yes, we did.
Which were completely amazing.
Yeah.
We had Mamoja.
Yeah.
Project and trading, which is
owned
very
by
passionate
Anna. Lady.
Very led by a young black female.
Very passionate.
We had, Altvest, which is an alternative investment company that is, funds SMEs. We had this Dunlop.
Yes.
Dunlop was
there. Master Drive.
Yeah, Master Drive was there. I'm thinking about the financial sponsors now. Avis
was there. Isuzu was there.
And we had 20 exhibitors this time around.
We did.
I think we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we had exhibitors.
So, we kind of...
we had Isuzu.
Yes. How can I forget my OEM?
Oh, man. Isuzu did a presentation around
total cost of ownership.
Right? Yeah. And I can tell you, that is the one
big...
Like, if you took nothing else from that, from the whole summit, that specific one was extremely important if you are a transporter running on the ground like now.
Yeah.
Because it was talking about the real things. What do you actually need to think about before you even purchase a vehicle?
Yeah.
And it's not just the trucks, but everything else, from a bakkie, from
insurance.
If you're doing Uber, if you'd listened to that, you would get, it was amazing. And how they just put all their effort into getting that through. There's one company that also did well, I think, to talk to us about tire management, or to a certain extent, was Dunlop.
Yeah,
I think Dunlop.
Keith did a fantastic
job.
Did a
wonderful
because he
job.
did it it was very practical. So he showed people practical examples of what people are doing on the road and how people ought to be assessing,
absolutely,
their tires.
Yeah,
no, it was fantastic.
Yeah. The insurance conversation was amazing because that's a big
cost.
thing, big. And the guys that were sitting there, was actually a company, a guy who was one of our panelists, who have an insurance company.
He's a broker.
He's a broker.
It was true. It was him and Charney.
From Mont Blanc.
Yeah.
And amazing conversation. Again, the purpose of why the summit was actually created was for that, wasn't it?
It was. I am a firm believer that conversation can be a catalyst for growth. I think dialogue is very important. Oftentimes, it's just what you don't know for you just to make an informed decision. And it's a very difficult thing to measure from an impact perspective. Those aha moments that people are having, those answered questions that people are having.
We had a lot of that.
That then they can go into their business and execute on or implement on. But it also just shows that a lot of times small and medium enterprises have been taken out of the conversation. And it's important for us to have certain conversations for them to like the tagline is making a difference for SME in the road freight industry. And it starts with information. It starts with technical know-how. And in the midst of that, then you can move into connecting opportunities such as what, APSA has done and what actually we're going to be doing. I even got an email from a particular telematics company that already wants to sponsor.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah. In actual fact, we also got another sponsor. I must tell you about it. Who's sponsoring next year, Hollard Trucking from Hollard Insurance. Hollard Trucking as a subsidiary of Hollard, and they want to also sponsor us. They work with us a lot from an MLM and R21 truck stop conversation.
We were there for your...
Oh, yes, for the thingy. But for the wellness, yes. And of course, driver wellness, very important. I
think, again, when I look back at the content of the conference, there's so much to talk about.
Yes, in little time.
Yes, there's a lot to talk about, especially with what we are creating. Is we are literally carving out a new path. And some of the things that people have gotten wrong over a long period of time, only now they're getting the right, information, and only now they're getting to be in the right network and ecosystem for them to know where to get assistance.
Yes.
For instance, somebody now can, know GT Tire Services, which is run by George, to say, oh, okay, I can go and they can do my assessments for free around my tires. A lot of times those things,
that
people
did
not
very important.
They did not have access to that. So when I look at it, it's for me, Mark, I get a lot. I become very nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, how are we going to make sure that it maintains being a catalyst to some extent in the industry, and it doesn't become redundant, and we do not necessarily keep on repeating topics that are already there. But at the same time, you're going to have new people that would want to learn, certain things that have gone there. So then again, the documenting becomes an important thing. That's why we did the master classes this year. Part of doing the master classes was how we're going to grow our database. I think a lot of people don't know that we started with no database. There's a lot of demystifying we want to go do.
I think they just think that we just jumped on.
Somehow basically we knew people. This thing started with no budget.
Nothing actually.
And I think we can speak like this, though yes, it's year 2, but we can speak like this or say certain things because of the success, for lack of a better expression, or the wave it has received or been received or within the industry. So we started with no database. So doing the masterclass, it was a way to say, Yazin, we're going to need a database because we don't know where these transporters are. And if we do online masterclasses, people can register. Then now we can start developing, some form of a database for us to tell people about the summit.
Absolutely.
But in the point I was making about the importance of documenting it is that then we're going to load all the masterclasses onto the YouTube platform so that people can revisit all of that. And we've got clips from the summit, from speakers that we're going to load. I hope next year's budget is more friendly so that we can record the entire summit, and then you can package it, because I believe 5 years from now somebody could, will find the information still relevant in their operation. That's what they want to do. So kudos to us.
What does next year look like, Flo? In closing, I don't know. Where are we going with next year?
I don't know.
No, you can't say you don't know. Where are we going with next year? I can tell you one thing that I think we need to we need to pay a bit of attention on, and it'll be nice because and I think the transporters that are listening to our podcast who are interested in what we do, reach out to us. We want to talk about what you want us to talk about, right?
100.
So if there's certain things that you are experiencing in your business and you've managed to overcome it, but you know very well that it affects everybody else within the space, and you might just have a formula that works, we need to talk to you. And we need to talk to literally everyone. And the good part about transportation or logistics is that you could even be having or owning a warehouse. Logistics spreads into everything. Rail,
elements.
and it's not just road. Some guy was saying to me, "Do you guys just focus on the road?" Yes, we talk about road. That's how we started. But the good part about it is that we are such a young group of people that we want to hear everything and everything. If you want to talk to us about sea,
Mark, who's going to execute that?
Not that time. We want to do it. We want to talk about it. We want to hear it.
Thing.
Yes.
Brainstorm.
Yes.
The execution of it is another thing.
We'll get there. We just want to learn everything. Tell us what you want. That's the first thing. But secondly, we're going to create that library, call it that, with the information that we're going to share with the people.
Even with the podcast, I think next year we will have, I was actually speaking to Bernard about it, I was looking for Gugumpofu in the road freight industry.
Yes.
Like somebody that can, like a proper journalist that can do current affairs.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a platform where you can go
Gugu?
to. No, Gugu is Financial Biz KFM, man. She's like the template of.
Is the son Mpofu?
Yes, something like that. Yes.
No, you're talking about Dalin Mpofu's son.
No, that's Sizwe.
Yes, okay.
I might have gotten her surname wrong. Sorry.
You definitely
Yes,
got
but
the surname wrong.
she's on Kaya Business, but she's known to be like a financial service journalist.
Okay.
And she's brilliant.
All right, perfect.
So
Look, Sizwe, if you are listening, we also
love
want
you
to
guys.
we can talk politics as well.
Yeah. Yep. But the point I was trying to get to is it will be great for us to add a feature like that, because there is no platform where you can go gaga, current affairs, road freight. There's so many policies that are happening.
That are affecting us.
Affecting
Cross-border a lot.
There's a new truck stop infrastructure framework that's been, developed. There's just so much that we are not necessarily getting into. I think even just about the bargaining council.
Yes. But there's a lot of things from a regulatory point of view. The bargaining council, COEDA. Yes. I think I've always said that whatever it is that we're doing, it needs to relate to the guy on the street.
Yes.
A guy who's just, we cannot talk complex things that an entrepreneur who's just started can't even understand. Then we've just passed this. We want to be able to bring everyone together. And even if you go high, it's all right, but let's accommodate everybody, right?
Hundreds.
The one thing I wanted to talk to you, to just emphasize on for next year perhaps, is AI, the role of AI in the logistics and transport industry. I haven't seen an article written about it. I know that the smart trucks came in, and then that quickly, there's a debate around it, and it quickly went out. But I know there's a hot topic around smart trucking because it affects labor and
very relevant for people that have the financial resources.
Hello. True. We don't know.
Nukes.
Yeah. No, but true. But it still needs to be talked about, because I think it'd be nice to just understand what is the role of AI and what happens and what are the new technologies.
We'll do a masterclass on that.
Just get someone.
Yes, maybe we'll do a masterclass on that. So, as to from a content perspective, I think what we will bring into the podcast, even the YouTube channel, is we'll have a current affairs element. Mm-hmm. We will then also have the masterclasses on YouTube. So that is the two things. So we'll continue with the masterclasses, obviously different topics. Yeah. And then we will add in a current affairs clip or element, where at least
hopefully
we've got
with
45. No, but she's financial services. I was just using her as a template. We need somebody for road freight, but I think there's somebody that can do it for us.
Google Mpofu, we're looking for you.
Yeah, we don't have a budget for her.
You're not getting paid. That's the reality.
No one is.
Sorry,
just Right. So, Harry, so that for me, I think that is important for us to make sure that, somebody can get onto the channel and they could know exactly what the minister has spoken about.
Yeah, and how it affects your business.
Yes, how it affects your business. What is the latest policy, and how does that relate to your business? Everything that we cannot potentially cover during the summit, I think we should create content around it.
I think obviously after the State of the Nation address, after things like the budget speech, there's a lot of things that affect the business immediately after that.
100%.
Okay, I get you. 100%.
100%. I think a lot of people don't even know where our government stands from a road freight perspective.
No,
it's just the policy, but the SMEs themselves, they don't know.
I mean, there's a vision. It's up to 2020, 2050 vision, but
Even from transport infrastructure perspective. But you asked me a question about how do I think it went this year. I was partially present, because a close friend of mine passed away.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
On that particular...
On the day.
Yeah, on the day. So as the conference was happening, I was now having to plan a memorial service.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it was vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Because you are judged by your work.
Yeah.
So when you create a conference, everything about the conference
is on you as the convener.
Hello. Hey.
Yeah.
And I'm answering it in this way because I'm answering it from entrepreneurship or entrepreneur life.
Yeah.
That oftentimes we don't talk about the duality you're constantly living in, even when people are thinking something is growing. The nerves, the vulnerability, the anxiety of, as much as, yes, we printed like 237 name tags and everything was paid and there's no debt. But there is still a nervousness that you live in about, well, next year you're going to retain the same people. So as the summit is happening, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know, is are we still going to retain these people? Are we still going to, is this sponsor happy? Is that sponsor happy? And things like that. And you're therefore very, very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So even as I read people's comments, like my email will be flooded with thank you emails or things like that, and I read articles, you know, and now people forward me their articles. Because you're not outside looking in.
Yes.
You are literally the one carrying the weight of this.
100%.
So my experiences and what I think is completely different from somebody who attended or, you know, somebody else that experienced it.
Yeah.
But I do think, with that said, we are onto something. I don't know how it's going to take shape in 2025. But with the efforts that we put in 2024, and we continue putting those efforts, it will grow, it will stabilize, it will take shape, and most importantly, I think it will influence industry. In a particular way, coming to small and medium enterprises. It will become a home for small and medium enterprises, and it will become more sustainable.
No, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, because obviously you were the runner in it, so you felt, you know,
the pressure
and all that. But I can tell you, from a person on the, you know, probably not an attendee, but probably one of the people that was part of this whole process to a certain extent, I can tell you, I think it was a wonderful summit. I think we did extremely well. I think you did exceptionally well under the circumstances. I know you lost your friend. Condolences again to your friend. And the fact that you obviously, even within just your friend space, you had to really be the organizer of everything. And you were the pastor and everything there, like literally.
And the thing is, that is entrepreneurship. Is so many people, after you pay salaries, after you press that button and you release salaries, you still have your personal life. And there could be havoc in your personal life. At that particular moment. You
Absolutely.
know, where your employees are like, yes, boss,
I'm out, I'm going to.
And when in your personal life, there is a proper shaking.
No.
You know, and those are, I hope, even as we progress with the podcast, we talk about that because you are not your business. You are a person and you're going through a lot of things. 100%. As this business and as people are admiring whatever it is that they're admiring, that you yourself are navigating a lot of personal things.
100%. And I think that's what, you know, you went through, I went through in my own setting. But I think what's important out of all this is that, you know, we confessed.
Yeah.
We put it into the universe. And I believe in the power of positivity.
Yeah.
I believe in the power of the tongue. So you'll often never find me saying anything negative towards anything that I'm working on. And I've always said this to you, particularly around be it the podcast or the summit, is that it's going to grow and it's going to be big and it's going to be impactful. And I feel that is where the glory is. And I think that's where God's presence is. One of the things about the summit that I really love is that it really brings people together, and from different backgrounds. I mean, in this summit, we had people from Kuruman, you know, who came to see me, you know. Richards Bay. Look at that. Richards Bay. There was the Richards Bay lady We've actually contacted her. We're going to do something with her on that other side, because we've planted ourselves in Richards Bay from a branch point of view. So she's going to, and we know her concerns. She obviously shared a few of that. But what's important is that collaboration.
Amanda.
But the collaboration is done. It's not forced. It's done
organic.
That's it, organically. And as much as we all want to collaborate, and I love the word collaboration, but it's so difficult when you're running. Very difficult. As I said, with this thing, it's always changing the wheel as the car is kind of moving. You can't stop.
Yeah.
So as long as you are changing somebody's situation, somebody's life, one step at a time, you're doing something at least, right? So, and then I think if you look at the summit, it brought those people together.
Yeah.
I was talking to guys from Kurumani who I've met 3 or 4 times now, and those guys have something really, 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 really wonderful there. The only challenge with them is they're saying, Mark, we want to do this, but we just don't have the resources. And we're sitting there and we're saying, but how do we then make it happen? Even if we put in one truck, it's at least something for the community, because they're community leaders. And those conversations, I think that's what's important, right? So I really think that the summit went well.
Yeah.
I think the sponsors are, for me,
fantastic.
We love you. We want you to come
more
back.
Money.
Man, don't be direct.
More money. I think also what's going to happen next year, though, some of the episodes will be sponsored.
Yes. So that's right. They'll be sponsored by the sponsors. But what's important again is to bring you the content that we want. So obviously, when the sponsors are involved, they also kind of want to share something that they see in industry, because not only do they sponsor us, but they've also within the industry, so they know certain things, fuel management, That's important stuff for us, right?
It's like even something like cross-border that we didn't talk about.
I mean, now what happened now at the border? Our trucks were stuck there, for a good 3-4 days. It's tough, and the government made a call to say trucks are not going to go on the other side because there's going to be burnt. But you're losing money, you're losing client credibility, and all that kind of stuff. So it's tough.
I think what I also heard you saying now when you're speaking about the people that you've met and allowing things to happen organically is when you do come to the summit, or when people hear about it, a lot of times people say, what is in it for me? And I always want to emphasize that we should never live life from a position of desperation, because that's when you miss out in potential business relationship over time. It's having the patience to come into an ecosystem, having the patience to get to know the ecosystem, and then ultimately to find each other. And then the synergy happens, and then you can take advantage of certain opportunities as and when they arrive. And a lot of times, because as small and medium enterprises, things are very tough. We can write off a conference, we can write off certain things, or a masterclass where you can learn, because you are so desperate for a deal that your desperation completely clouds your judgment and completely clouds your long-term view, right? And I mean, you and I sitting here now, which is really a collaborative,
collaboration.
Relationship that started 3-4 years ago, but we were patient enough. We didn't even meet to do this together.
100%.
That's not what we, we didn't have, and we didn't see each other as cash cows.
And that's the important thing.
That is so important. Don't look at me and you then see this potential network you can have access to. Don't look at Mark and then you see this potential business, that you can get. Is
build the relationship.
Take time to, to be patient. And when you talked about, the presence of God, is also take time to allow God to lead you. instead of writing off a lot of things too quickly, because that's what you see is that, quickly people just want to make a quick buck, and you tell people, no, but go to this masterclass. It's for free. It's going to help you in your business. But because you want to make a quick buck, you forgo the masterclass. You don't do the masterclass, and you go inside of your business and you're going to go make mistakes in your business.
A lot of, and costly mistakes.
Costly mistakes.
Yeah, costly mistakes.
And then also, you then like, okay, no, I'm going to go to the summit, and you come to the summit with the perception of whom can I milk quickly, and there again, you shoot yourself in the foot, because it just doesn't work out that way. No. Even the sponsors that, we're speaking about, it's some of them actually came on board after they had seen the value.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe you sell to people. I think you meet people that are already convicted about something, and then they come on board, something like that. But that is very important for us to emphasize, Mark, as we are building this, to say, we're not promising you a contract.
No.
We're not promising you that you're going to scale your business to, or we're going to help you scale your business. What it is, we're saying we're creating a community, a platform that will be fruitful in your journey, that can act as a catalyst in your journey. And it requires you to be patient.
It does.
It requires you to be patient. If you meet me, for instance, at the conference, and you think somehow, somewhere tomorrow, I'm going to call Mark on your behalf and things like that. And I say these things because I think this is where a lot of times things fall in the cracks.
They do.
And people don't want to talk about certain things.
They do.
That things take time, and just be patient. Don't be too desperate in trying to get some form of an ROI in being part of the ecosystem.
Yeah. Look, it's not a quick rich scheme.
No.
I can tell you. I mean, I've had people come to me and initially I opened up a door and I said, let's collaborate.
Yeah.
But collaboration is important as well. But it's you need to come with something. Because we're collaborating. So you can't come and say, I want to hop onto your channel, and I want to, and then when I say, okay, how many or what can you bring in? You've got nothing to bring in, right? And also for the new entrepreneurs coming into the space, even though some of the ones who have been around, I think it's important to teach each other. That education is so important. Let's go back, let's research about it, and let's talk. Let's have meaningful conversation. If you're with me for an hour, let's talk some meaningful stuff that can benefit the both of us for that hour. I've been sometimes roped into meetings purely because and when I get there, I'm realizing, why am I sitting here? Because I'm thinking to myself, you actually have not even researched what you've come to talk to me about. You're actually learning from me, when in actual fact you should have. And it's simple. You either go to a master class or attend one. I mean, time management. We've talked about it. Fleet management. I mean,
we did
Parkway.
Jonathan.
Mr. Jonathan. If you listen to him, I can promise you now, you don't have to have so many years of fleet management experience, and just listen to the guy once. You give him a good 30 minutes. If you listen to that session that you had with him, and that was like a master class, right?
Or something like that. 70 minutes, but so profound.
It's so thing. And I mean, he's won awards and awards, and you're listening to the guy for free.
Hundreds.
Literally,
Hundreds. And therefore we're saying that when you look into the podcast, when you consider coming to the summit, don't think about it from they're going to give me a contract, because I get a lot of DMs.
I can imagine.
And a lot of emails that would say, I've got this, what can your business do?
I get a lot of WhatsApps.
Yeah. And oftentimes there's nothing that we can. And that's the reality, It's if you don't show up in these spaces that are being created for you to show up, there's little to nothing that I can do.
Yeah, we can't give you a seat on the table because there's actually no seat on the table.
You have to bring your own seat to the table.
My point, you as later
to the table.
With my seat. I mean, look at Amanda from the Richards Bay.
Yes, she's coming with a seat from Richards Bay.
Yeah.
I had Faith Rich coming from the Val, what's her name? Oh, I remember. Violet coming from East London.
Yeah.
Eastern Cape. It's come in with your own seat because you also have a clear vision of where you're going to go.
Right.
Where where you're getting to.
Yeah.
And best believe, and I'll say this every year, after every year, we are not handing out contracts. We do not have the power to hand out contracts. And neither are we saying we are the people to know for you to get.
No.
Something. We are just purely passionate about the importance of building an ecosystem. And also educating SMEs in the space.
Yeah. The guy who's listening is like,
yes,
there's no point. I'm out. Really.
Yes.
Moving on to R. Kelly on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that is so important to emphasize and to just be honest about it.
Yeah, no, we don't.
We don't, and neither are we privately sponsored by certain people behind the scenes.
Oh, people think that.
Hello.
What?
Hey. So it's it's very important, to demystify these things, so that at least when people come, they know that it's your value, you coming, the conversation, the questions you bring in, the content you're bringing, it's adding value to this platform as well.
Yeah.
And
if you're lucky, you will bump into
the right person.
Yeah. Because the right person is also coming for the same thing and it's in the room. And then by default, there you are. And there's conversation, as I said. A lot of transporters deal with TFN, but they've never spoken to the CEO.
John,
And then all of a sudden, John is here and you're speaking to him and you're saying to him, but TFN, really.
You can get a better deal now.
You can get a better deal. And you start talking about things that are, but my point is, you cannot also not come. You have to come. You have to learn what other people are experiencing. You have to be in the room. I always say, Flo, to my team all the time, if you're not in the room,
people are making decisions for you.
Thank you.
Sorry for
finishing your sentence. No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, people are making decisions for you, because how I also see the summit or the initiative growing is we will be, to a very large extent, a point of reference for big corporates coming to the enterprise supply development initiatives, right? So the content that is shared, the people that are there, it's going to be a point of reference to say, you know what, we are thinking of doing an initiative or a project for small and medium enterprises because of our supply development or enterprise supply development. Let us go to the Road Freight SME Summit 100%. And hear what they have to say.
Yes.
So slowly but surely,
that's how we're creating industry players.
Yes, we're creating content that will influence, And also what I foresee happening is that they will then start reaching out to us to say, do you know, certain people that can be part
absolutely
of this particular program or part of this particular project. But if you were not in the room, if you're not part of the conversation, how will the news reach you?
100%. Look, I think we can talk for hours. I think one of the things about it is that just to be thankful also to the speakers. I think the speakers did, it was 30 plus speakers, amazing, top class speakers that we had there.
And the partners as well, your RFA, your SAPIX,
your
supply chain network.
Absolutely. MLM Logistics was there too.
As I'm sitting here, I'm like trying to remember everybody because it's like so many stakeholders.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I've got a personal relationship with all of them. So I can, I've given them my gratitude, our gratitude.
Perfect.
Even with the advisory council, and all the relationships are continuing for 2020.
And beyond. And we'll see what God will make out of this as we just avail ourselves to be used. Last people say 2 cents. I don't like the word 2 cents. Like last rand.
Dollar.
Last dollar.
Dollar.
Your last dollar.
About
the whole thing in terms of our podcast done. Last few sentences around what you think. The feeling around how you feel now that we've spoken about it, because we actually haven't spoken about it.
No, we haven't.
Now that we've spoken about it, I've told you my truth. You've told me your truth. We've spoken about.
Weren't you nervous about the summit? Like when
I'm always nervous
about
it. Always.
Oh, okay.
You know why I'm always nervous?
Why?
Because sometimes I think I'll get there and find one car. Like you get there and then there's just a polo. I'm like, you know
what's going on?
Like, what the hell? You know, where's Flo?
What's going on?
Yeah. Please remember, as an advisory council, we are not extremely active, and we rely a lot on you. And I know the pain that you go through, but it's one of those things that you always feel you get there and you're not too sure, because again, we allow you the space to really manage and run this thing. So you know the numbers. For example, you know we've got 300 people, 200 people, 500 people. We don't. So when we get there, it's often like, okay, we know the part that we need to play, but we just don't know. So that's always my issue. I'm always nervous. Always nervous. I'm also nervous about the people that we meet, because I don't really know if we've put our right foot forward. And maybe people are going to get there and think, no.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
These people are playing.
Like, please, I wasted my damn time getting a flight from Kuruman to here. You know, and it's always that thing. Always things. And then when I get there, then I see what you've done, and I'm like, oh. Nah, and I think it gets better as the day goes by. And then the second day kind of phases in, and then towards the end, you see how impactful the conference has become, because you're talking to people who can relate to it, because they've also been through the 2 days. You know, the exhibitors that were sitting there telling you about their products. We had accountants and tax people and legal people were telling us about what they do, how can they offer services, something tree as well, very nice thing from APSA. So those things I enjoyed, you know, and I felt that's what we didn't have before, if you remember. So there's a new thing. This time around, I think next year, I would like to have more of them, exhibitors, to come and exhibit and tell us and share their products. And we must use their companies. What's the point of going and using the big five if there's an accountant who's sitting here, who does the tax and whatever, and is saying to you, I know your business, I can help you. So it's those people that I really want us to really bring in and use, you know, their services, because they're there for that.
Hundreds. Hundreds. My last dollar.
Yeah, what's your last dollar, man? Last
dollar.
You know, 2 minutes, last dollar.
Trust in God.
You know, I was gonna say to you that.
Trust in God.
Yeah, shucks.
Oh no,
that's a good. That's it. That's the last dollar.
No, it's the last dollar. It's the last dollar. I'm nervous.
To bigger to 2025.
Yeah, to 2025. I think also, you know, that's why a lot of people have ideas and they never execute, because ideas are like overall, it's hard work. The effort that you need to put in. The effort, day in and day out, whether you see improvement, whether you don't see improvement, you constantly have to maintain that momentum of consistency.
That's the tough part.
That is very tough.
So my thinking about dreams are always been, and I've said this to you before, that everything I have today, for me, I had probably dreamt about it 10, 15 years ago. But I believe in the power of speech, or speaking about it. I spoke about it probably 10 years ago, or probably 10, 15 years ago, what I have now. So everything that's kind of coming now, I'm not surprised. So it comes to me sometimes, I'm like, hey lang. This thing, right?
For me, the surprise is the how. Right.
That's it.
Yes. So
that's it.
To your point, I've always desired or always had a quest of influence. I'm not big on material stuff. That's why I live way below my means.
So do we all.
Right? Very important for entrepreneurs. Live low below your means.
Hey, don't.
Hectic. Yo, diabo. You know, but it is the how. You know, it's the same as how in the Bible God would give a person a prophecy that you're going to be a king, and then there's a process to it. And
Then you think you're going to be king now.
Yes.
Can't you only going to be king?
Long before.
Yeah, by that time you're like,
and that becomes then my dollar, my dollar.
Yeah.
Actually, let's say the pound.
The pound. Ne?
Right. My pound is, don't be dismayed when you think things are delayed.
Oh, siyabonga.
Don't be dismayed when you think things are being delayed.
Thank you so much, Pastor
delayed.
Flo.
So yeah.
So
don't be dismayed. Don't be dismayed.
Dismayed, yeah.
When you think things are delayed.
You hang around with Ntate Malisela.
Drops mic.
Punchline.
Drops mic. Yeah, no, don't.
Because those are his things.
Don't be. And even, as we wrap up this conversation, because I think a lot of times, as whatever it is that we're doing, and whatever it is you're building, is a lot of times things don't look like anything is happening. And I, in my own personal journey, is like I'm rebuilding, right? So hence I say to people, don't be dismayed when you think, or it seems like things are being delayed. Because the how part of this thing that you're talking about, of that which you have confessed and professed and so believed, the way in which it's going to happen, the way in which you're going to emerge, you yourself will be surprised as to how it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my last pound. I like the dollar. The pound is a bit... It's a bit snobby for me. It's a bit snobby for me.
What is the Bahrain?
Bahrain's a bit too hectic.
No, but that's a proper... That's a
proper I was in Dubai. You see those gold tops. You're like, this is what I'm talking about. My last dollar to it for me is, and something that I believe in.
We should have said our last truck. To be more relevant. But anyway, your last dollar.
You know it.
I should have said something like that.
Flo,
Okay, sorry.
Like, always. No ways. Like, anyway.
Bring relevance to
Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Our last side tipper. Our last side tipper.
Guys, last dollar.
Yeah, last dollar.
For me, and something I live by on a daily, and I believe it, is that failure and failure again is the right ingredient for success.
100.
Don't be dismayed.
Don't be dismayed it seems like things are being delayed. And lastly, thank you to you.
Thank you. To me.
We've done,
Oh, yeah. For the
all of these things start with the WhatsApp between Mark and I. I'm like, Mark, I think we can do this.
Yeah, and I'm always like, yes, for anything, for you.
For you.
Anything.
Beautiful.
And then the next thing, 2 million.
Please.
Yeah.
But a compelling vision it is. But thank you so much. High five.
Thank you. High five.
We will
next
see
year,
you
2025.
in February 2025.
Yep.
With new episodes from fantastic entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And expect new features like we mentioned, current affairs, masterclasses, and we thank you for the support. We're sitting over 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, guys. Just keep subscribing.
Even on our TikTok.
Yeah, you know what I like?
3.8.
There's this guy, when these guys talk like the diet of the CEO is, there's a link that's going to come up here. Just click. Hey, can there be a link here?
Please, ding,
link here. Just says, guys, can you please, have you heard that?
He's laughing at the back.
There's a link right here. Just click on that link and subscribe, please. Thank you.
And even on our TikTok.
I know.
And thank you to Kamo and Samke.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, girls. You've just been amazing.
Yes, we can't do anything without them. And today, you see, the reason now we've gone like where we've gone is because our creative directors are not here. Because if they're here, long time,
like
cut this thing. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
And new dates for the summit will be out in February next year. So
perfect.
To the stream in people, the studios we're using.
Yes. Oh, stream in, yeah.
We thank Matthew, we thank Mike.
Yeah, all of them.
We've got new friends now, guys.
Yeah. We've got that guy there with the dreadlocks there on the other side there. We see him there. Yeah. You guys who've been podcasting, you know him.
They're not taking content, by the way. They're busy. They're supposed to be taking pictures of us, sending videos of us.
No,
they're listening to the conversation.
They just chill and just chill.
Can you believe it? But
they're interested in transport. Have you noticed?
I'm so glad that we actually use Stream In.
Yeah. They're interested in transport. I was told like he wants to own a truck. Like Matthew was saying to me, he's thinking of owning a truck.
Really?
Yeah.
You want that headache?
Yeah, it does.
Oh wow! Breakdown.
Ding ding.
Anyway, guys.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
That's our last dollar. Thanks. Bye.
It is indeed our last dollar, Flo.
It is.